Oh, knock it off. He's allowed to exist. I'll open the other window too then. There.
Oh,
Shadow, you can go up in that window. Yeah, see, it's this channel that normally sends out the notifications.
That's true.
So should I start doing NHL on this channel and start doing the other games on the other channel, on the main channel, and really throw people off?
Somebody'd have a meltdown.
Probably, yeah. Alright, let's... Wait, what is understeer?
Excited to see Michael Keaton as Batman again.
Absolutely. About time. I don't know how long I'm going to be doing the driving school on this. I was like 0.2 of a second away from a gold on the lap. It makes you do the lap.
Okay.
But it kept telling me I was going too fast coming out of the last corner, so it kept penalizing me. I'm like, how else am I supposed to get there if I don't go fast? So, understeer. Learn to corner without understeering.
Yvonne needs a new car.
I just got her a new car.
Yeah, exactly. Big fan. It has heated seats and a heated steering wheel.
Oh wow! Okay, that was way too fast.
Fail.
Okay, what's the time on this? 18 seconds.
About Jenna Marble leaving YouTube? I have no idea who
Doesn't surprise me. They'll be back. They all come back.
People say they're leaving YouTube all the time.
They all come back.
And then they're back in like a week or two and I'm making a new channel on this same channel.
Yeah, your sister's up there, you moron. You didn't realize his sister was up there.
You did something to THG channel to stop the notifications, didn't you?
Apparently. That's the idea.
I'm disappointed in the new Seattle building name.
It's just so weird. Like, I don't have a problem with it being a green building at all.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's great.
They could have named it something cool.
But just leave it the Seattle Center. And then the idea of, oh, well, you know, Bezos, blah, blah, blah. You know what? Amazon has been terrible to its employees throughout this COVID. So to say, oh, well, you know, it's good for them to do this. No. Amazon has been absolutely horrible to their employees throughout the pandemic. So they have the right to start, you know, doing some kind of a preachy name when they start treating their employees better. And I don't know that that's going to happen, so...
At least. I thought they named it Seattle something just because that's what buildings are. Not
liking bronze. Not accepting bronze. I'm getting better though. Just got to take a second off. It's knowing when to break.
Thoughts on Adam Boquist so far?
Way too early in his career to have any kind of opinion on it.
Oh, the book game volume.
It's the same volume I always have it.
Is it?
Haven't changed anything.
It should have been called Evergreen Center. That would have worked really well.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would have worked. Or just the Emerald Center. And then had, like, you know, evergreen topics in the description of the building. You don't need to call it climate change, climate protection. It's so bizarre.
Coworker being buried Saturday after passing away from COVID. She was only 51. That's terrible. Key Arena at Seattle Center was a perfect name, but Key Arena is a different arena.
Well, I thought they were just going to call it Seattle Center, which I was fine with.
Key Arena. there is a Key Arena.
Well, no, they're hollowing out Key Arena and they're putting in the new
But you can't
building.
just...
They could. They could still call it Key Arena. It's still the same building.
They don't ever do that, though. They always rename it. It's different building.
I'm close.
Thoughts on Joel Furby?
Faraby's a good player.
Is Eugene Melnick a secret investor in the new Seattle team? That was the Melnick name if I ever heard one. I don't know this.
I was so close on that one. So close.
How many cars do you have?
It's got to be in the 50s.
Lots of cars. Do you think having a team in Seattle will draw a lot of fans in Seattle?
Yes, because they don't have a basketball team. So, yes.
Why is the NHL still considering the U.S. for hub cities? Their cases are getting worse.
Because the U.S.
Less oversight.
Yeah. Pretty clear from what came out of Vancouver today that, player safety, it's a nice thing, but apparently it's optional. So, finally got gold.
Please play Burnout. That would be fun to watch.
I don't have burnout. All right.
Couldn't they have just named it Green Arena? There's so many things
Evergreen,
they could have named it.
Emerald.
So many things.
But it's just if you're gonna be preachy, why beat people over the head with that? It's just it's an unnecessarily preachy name.
It's weird.
Emerald Arena would work because that's green. You can talk about it's evergreen. We already know that the building's going to be all nice and wonderful for everybody. I can use the washroom right back. Should have done that before the stream. I know.
But there's already Seattle Totems. You can't have another Seattle Totems. That wouldn't work.
Not used to wearing jeans, so. Alright, now we'll do the oversteer. See, so now I gotta go into a hairpin turn.
Oh,
which one is this?
My trust in their safety just went down big time.
Yes. Yeah, me too. I've defended the NHL throughout, and now I can't.
Is that a piece of cottonwood?
No, it's
okay.
kitty.
Good.
Kitty hair. So Shadows decided to sleep here, which is a dangerous spot because Pixel decided to have that spot. So I cleaned this off a little bit so they have somewhere to go down. Okay. Rather than just knocking all my crap off. Alright, what am I driving?
NBA used New York. If Orlando doesn't work, you could have teams playing MSG and Barclays.
The problem is... wow. Okay, alright then. The problem is they have a quarantine in place in New York. So, yeah, that's the problem. Is they have a quarantine in place in New York, and they're not going to not have it in place. Dear Lord.
Do you think
so there's no control.
will opt out of the hub cities in the States instead of Canada, where the risk is obviously lower.
They may not have a choice. They may only have hub cities in the U.S. And I think there's going to be players in a lot of sports who decide we're not showing up. I think there's going to be baseball players that don't show up. I think there's going to be football players who don't show up for the NFL. I think we're already seeing it with tennis, golf. There'll be a lot of people who say forget it.
Once again, I'm going out for my 7-mile run. Thank you for the live stream.
Good luck with your run.
NHL clearly doesn't care about safety, but at least they're doing hub cities, unlike baseball.
Oh, baseball's just, it's a mess. You can't have it in some of those cities, and where everything's spiking is like where a third of their league is playing. So I still don't think we finish out a regular season in baseball.
Who goes second, Cecil or Byfield?
Byfield. I'd be very surprised if Byfield doesn't go second. Unless Detroit drafts second. If Detroit gets that number 2 pick, they'll take Stutzel.
NBA isn't being that safe either.
Nope.
Especially with the idea of allowing special access to the park.
Oh, come on.
Is Chance
so
really
close.
better than Gritty? No.
Nothing's better than Gritty.
You don't even see Chance with the games. He
Nope.
hides up at the castle. That's it. You don't see him. Most of the mascots for teams, you see him down by the glass and stuff. Chance, you don't. He stays at the castle. It's weird.
Sure. No.
When the MLB season returns, do you think the Mets are a playoff team?
I don't know if they're a playoff team, but really, in all honesty, with a season at 60 games, it's possible. It's not a 162 game season. It's possible any team could go on a bit of a run. I don't know. Oh, I tied the other guy that's on. Hey, look at that, exact same.
Whoa.
12.034, but I'm second because the game hates me. So it's possible the Mets make it, but the Mets are also capable of blowing it. Let's see, raising your cornering speed.
What's the percentage on the NHL? What's your percentage on the NHL finishing? Well, today it went
I'm down to
way
40%.
down.
I would have said 55% coming into today, but it went down to 40. And I was even going to do a video I was setting up there on the big board on how to do make the bubble work. And then I read what Adrian Dix said, and I went,
like, crap.
oh. So there went that video. I was like, oh, forget it.
Darn it.
They're not doing it right. Never mind.
It makes you wonder what else they're just like, that's okay. You know.
Holy crap.
By the way, the last live stream you had me giggling so much. You both remind me so much of me and my fiance.
I'm sorry.
Are you a brat to her too? Is it like having a brother that always picks on her?
I failed? Wow. Okay. All right. Well, I guess I'm supposed to just barrel around every corner. Got it. Okie dokie.
The defenseman that you previewed today, will Yzerman pull another shocker and take him?
No. The speculation's been Stutzel.
So the little blue thingies on the sides, are you supposed to go to that side?
That's where ideally you're supposed to go. I don't listen to them because I've never listened to them.
Because you don't listen.
It's ideally that's where you're supposed to go. But look, I still got gold, so we're good. I'm fine. And I'm racking up. The reason I like doing these is because they're quick and you rack up tons and tons of points. And then you get a gift. You get a free gift every time you finish another row. So you get a free car. which is kind of nice.
Will the NFL do the Buble? I'm gonna guess bubble situation. How would that work? So many people.
The NFL, from what I can understand, is planning on running things as a regular season, and there's already NFL players coming out and saying, I don't think we can do this. So we'll see what ends up happening. I don't like that silver in there. But I don't want to try to get a gold during a live stream because I swore at it yesterday when it wasn't letting me get the gold. So
who wins the cup first, Vegas or Seattle?
Vegas. Vegas will win the cup first. I'm debating about going back to the main screen and just doing a race.
Got a job interview Monday morning. Nervous about it because I got fired from my last job for insubordination. Just hoping they are willing to overlook that. First job I've been fired from. I've been fired for insubordination too. I got a job right away. But it wasn't my fault. They were morons.
People don't like it being pointed out that they're morons.
Oh my gosh. So, okay, for me though, I worked at a child care center. And so I had an early education associate's degree. The director and the assistant director were both art history majors. And they were trying to tell me things that I needed to do with the kids, and I would explain to them, I can't give the kids, 1-year-olds, nachos for a snack. This is a choking
you shouldn't,
hazard.
But you can.
No,
then you teach the kids not to choke.
This is a choking hazard.
Then it's a health class too. I think that's really smart.
We had 14 kids in a room with 2 teachers, and they want us to feed them
If the kids can't figure out how to breathe while eating nachos, their parents shouldn't get attached.
They just had stupid ideas, and me explaining things. I'm like, no, seriously, this is not how children learn, and these are the things that we need to do. And they got really irritated because I would try and explain things to them about, like, child psychology and child development, and they had no idea because they studied art history.
Well, if you know the history of art, I mean, there's lots of kids in artwork. So.
Since they had bachelor's degrees, you automatically get paid more, even though it had nothing to do with what we did. Oh, it was so stupid. Anyways, but I got a job right after that, just fine. So I think it really depends.
What was it with me in this course? I did a race yesterday online, and I picked the absolute worst car.
Shannon does what he wants. He sure does. He's a boy like that. I don't mean to. It just sort of happened. Then I get stares and called a dork. Yeah, that's kind of how it works. That's my thoughts exactly. Probably shouldn't have called that out in front of everyone. I think they fired me because they were mad I called them out on their BS in front of everyone. Yeah, that's kind of why I got fired too. They didn't like that I was undermining them because they were stupid.
You're the underminer?
Wasn't my fault that they were dumb. Feeding 1-year-old nachos is lawsuit waiting to happen. I know! What was the other one? Oh, they were doing apple slices and they weren't peeling them. Now, so for 1 year old, we're talking 12 months to the second birthday. So kids that generally eat smushy, soft food, and they were giving them apple peels. I actually had to do the Heimlich on a child.
People don't have feelings for actual babies.
Oh my gosh,
that's why
they were so dumb.
Up.
And then they were horrible with
it's like birds.
Kids having food allergies. They didn't have it as information easy to see what kind of food allergies you'd have in a room. So say a teacher goes on a break and you have somebody else come in, you don't know that this child has, say, a milk allergy or something like that.
Best way to find out, give a kid milk.
You have to have that.
That kid's blown up like a blowfish. Yeah, I guess he's got an allergy.
It was
now I know.
So irritating. So
can't you just put like stamps on their forehead? Isn't that what dry erase markers are for? Just stamping it on a kid's forehead?
There's a child care place. They could have gotten real big trouble if someone did choke. Oh, they were awful. If Yvonne got a raise, she could buy a fancy car like one of those in that game. Yeah.
Hey, I'll get you a Subaru Impreza. That'll be no problem. That'll be awesome. I'd be more than willing to get you a Subaru Impreza. These cars are great.
What are your thoughts on Barnaby Panarin telling players they should not go to training camp until the NHL fixes escrow?
Good luck. They have a collective bargaining agreement they're supposed to play under. You're going to tell players not to play under the current collective bargaining agreement? Good luck. And it also shows a fundamental ignorance for how the escrow works. I understand his feelings about escrow because it eats a lot of his money, but you got to understand how the escrow works and why it works that way. So before the NHL is going to come in and, oh, we're sorry, here's the rest of your money back, it's a horrible way to negotiate, and if the players do that, then they'll be in a similar position to Major League Baseball. And then we will see a lockout. That's what will happen.
Is the NHL done expanding?
Yes. I would be very surprised if they go beyond 32. I think they'd like to get into Houston, but I don't know that there's going to be an appetite for expansion, especially coming out of a pandemic. There's going to be a lot of financial concerns, and so I don't know that a further expansion's in the works.
Can either of you drive stick shift?
She can.
No, I can't.
Yeah,
I tried. I was really bad at it. I don't. So
is it because of your depth perception?
No, that's other things. A lot of you guys know I had a lot of leg surgeries when I was younger. I had a lot of nerve damage in one of them. It didn't heal properly. I had steroid shots. I had an allergic reaction to it, and permanent nerve damage. And so I don't have the good function. I tried. I couldn't get it because my ankle doesn't move properly. I tried. I did. It didn't work out well. I couldn't get it.
That's pretty funny.
It wasn't.
It is though.
I really tried.
Well, you failed.
I did.
That's how that works.
Every day I drop my kids off at the pool. Well, I used to get to do that in the summer. Our outdoor pool's not opening this year.
At all?
Nope.
Did you see the P&E's opening?
Really?
P&E opens on July 10th. July 10th, the P&E opens. P&E and Playland.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I thought they had already announced. Oh, it was the fair. Fair at the P&E is staying closed.
Right.
So I wonder what they'll be doing.
Well, social distancing and whole new setup.
Yeah. That's interesting, but I know they're not doing the fair.
Shabams, kablamo.
All the fairs are no fairs.
No fair.
No fairs.
That's funny.
You should do a video on escrow and use some pretend numbers to explain it. I know that I don't fully understand it.
I know this year was 14% of their income, which I understand if you're making $12 million a year, like Panarin, and you've got these big bonuses, your bonus gets eaten up as well. But again, the other option is not necessarily a good one either, where you'd have them claw it back later, give you extra money later. So the escrow's there for a reason, and while I appreciate Panarin trying to change the subject right now, because we all need the subject changed, I don't think this is a good idea. This isn't the hill to die on.
How's Raspberry doing? She's good. She's out
she's
in
doing
her cottage right now because it's not raining today.
Yeah, it's
We're
beautiful
supposed to
out
have
there.
no rain for 2 days, and then it'll go back to rain. So we have to take that opportunity.
So
It's a rare thing that it doesn't rain.
I sold my truck,
Okay.
and then the next time it gifted me something, it gifted me the
Gave you a
truck
truck?
again. And I'm like, no, I don't want the truck.
Oh, Joshua trees. I've seen those in person.
How many of them are named Joshua? What about Jacob trees? Never see Jacob
Okay.
trees.
Anyways, in New York,
I wanna
outdoor
see a Jacob
pools are
tree.
open.
I could see that. New York's doing really well. Comparatively
But
speaking,
compared
New
to
York's
here,
doing really, really well.
ours
Compared to
aren't
here, it's
open.
not. But it's for the States, they're doing well.
The reason why they're not opening the pool out here is the deck isn't big enough. And so if you're not in the pool, there's not enough room for people to be properly spaced.
Makes sense.
Since we only have one outdoor pool, there's not enough room for it. So people are sad because that's where the swim team the Orca's the swim team. That's where they do their practice, is the outdoor pool.
Roadster, nah.
So that's sad.
Alright, we'll try the Trans Am. I'll use the Trans Am for this. I'll go fully Smokey and the Bandit on this one.
When will the NHL give up Arizona?
When Javier Gutierrez and Alex Mariuelo tell them it doesn't work. The crew they've got running things now in Arizona, they trust, and if it fails under this ownership, they'll pull the plug.
Depends on what part of New York. I live around Buffalo, and some things are starting to open.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, certain parts of New York, they're opening up pretty good.
They are separating the chairs, and you have to wear a mask at all times in the pool area, except in the pool in New York.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
the odds of transmission in the pool is very, very slim.
But yeah, it has to be big enough, and that's why they're not opening ours, since the deck isn't big enough, which is too bad. I like the outdoor pool. Not that you get to go very often because it rains.
It does.
Our summer is like a month and a half long, depending on the year. Last year we didn't get summer.
We'll get one this year.
Wasn't it like 3 days last year?
We'll get one this year. It'll start next week.
I don't know if it's supposed to be.
We will, because
22
nobody's supposed to go outside.
I know. If it's supposed to be 22 on Canada Day, that's already a sign of not much summer.
No, we'll get
Canada
it.
Day is like right when it starts getting hot.
We'll get it.
So, do you think it was a good idea to add Vegas and Seattle to the NHL?
Yep. Yeah, Vegas has been great. I think Seattle will do fine. Everybody who's upset about Seattle, once they're actually playing, it'll silence, it'll slow down. People will stop complaining somewhat, kind of, sort of.
What city gets a team first? Another U.S. city besides Seattle or Canada?
Houston would be next on the list. Houston, they would love to have Houston in there, because there's already somebody with deep pockets that wants a team in Houston. So you already have a building, you have a guy with deep pockets, and the American dollar, they would love to have a team there. I love my Trans
My
Am.
new favorite story, KG saying Duncan was one of the best trash talkers with just how subtle he was. He'd hit you in phrases like, got you, oh, almost, or to KG, the worst one, nice try. Here in UK, thousands flocked to beaches with good weather and no social distancing and few masks.
The UK's been hit pretty hard. The UK...
We're doing really good here.
In
we've
Europe,
been encouraged to be outside for the most part.
I've had one guy on the channel who's clearly from BC who's arguing with me that this has all been awful. And Bonnie Henry's terrible. And I'm like, no, you do not get to slam Bonnie Henry. You don't.
She's a national treasure.
She is
Everybody
to BC
loves
what Celine
Dr.
Dion
Henry.
is.
I don't know what people... It's not just BC. I mean,
I have the right to be out. Yeah, okay. Well, you know what? She has the right to try to protect people. So, and the numbers say that she's done very, very well.
Clearly.
The numbers are fantastic in BC.
We've been encouraged to be outside the whole time, but they were closing like provincial parks.
Because they were overcrowded.
Yes, because the parking lots were full, the trails were too full, those beaches were too full. And so they kind of wanted us, okay, be outside, but spread out. We have a huge outside. You go to a different outside.
That's right on the travel brochures. Come to BC. We have a large outside.
We do have lots of outside. And so we've always been encouraged to be outside.
We don't have the Rocky Mountains like Edmonton does, though. So, you know, not that Edmonton has the Rocky Mountains either, but at least they put it in their promo material.
That was so weird.
That'd be like Vancouver promoting themselves with pictures of Kelowna. Come to Vancouver and enjoy Lake Okanagan. Okie dokie. Yeah, exactly. And we're not done yet.
Are the Karens in Canada upset about masks like the one in U.S.?
Not as much. We have them, but not as much.
They're not...
They are the severe minority in Canada.
Yes.
Yes, but there are still people who will ask for the manager on a regular basis. I worked retail. I will attest to their existence.
I saw a new one. So in the States, they're saying that wearing a mask, it encroaches on your conceal and carry.
What?
Yeah.
What are they carrying in their mouth?
No, because your face is covered.
Oh, give me a break.
I read that, I was like, oh dear Lord, you people.
What?
Will Vegas get more sports teams? I know. When I read that, I was like,
well, I mean, they've got the
NFL.
They've got the NFL. They've got the NHL. I think the NBA wants to go to Vegas, so it's a matter of finding a way to make it work.
Bonnie Henry is a legend. I mean, she got her own special made shoes. I know, and they sold out. Like the pre-order sold out in minutes. I showed you her fun shoes, right?
Yes.
That's great. Yeah. Dr. Henry's fantastic. How many cases of COVID-19 are there right now? Well, I don't know how many there are right now. I think there's like 7 in the ICU. Let's see, what time is it? Oh, they haven't updated today yet.
No, they won't be updated yet.
Today will be for 15 minutes. It updates 15 minutes. I mean, it's a bit higher than it was a few weeks ago.
True.
Because things are starting to actually open. There's still a lot that's not open. But yeah, yesterday it was 14 new cases, 7 in the ICU, and 14 are hospitalized. That's for the whole province.
That's for everywhere.
So the about 6 million people. That's how many are in hospitals and stuff.
Yep.
Right now. But it updates in about 15 minutes. Have you tried fried butter? I actually looked it up after that other live stream. I looked it up.
You did?
It really is fried butter.
That's not possible. They're lying.
I don't understand. It was saying sometimes they freeze it.
That's a lie.
I still don't get it.
I guess if you flash fry it from frozen, I guess.
Yeah, I don't.
I still wouldn't do it though, because I don't need a heart attack while I'm eating something, so.
Did you solve your fried butter curiosity? I did look it up. It's weird. You don't have to fry everything. That's just bizarre.
You don't have to.
Do you think Karens are annoying? I had to deal with one time. Oh, they're terrible.
Before they were called Karens, I was dealing with them on the phone when I did tech support.
When I worked at McDonald's.
I dealt with them in retail when I worked at 7-Eleven.
They were the kind of people they'd be like, seriously, you need to have some kind of job that deals
Well, the other clerk lets me do this. That's
yes.
Nice. We'll come in when she's here. I'm saying no. I'm going to talk to your manager. Go ahead, because I'm uploading, or I'm
See with me.
I'm upholding the rules they gave me.
Let me get her. All right. I heard you had a problem. I hated that.
I know somebody from head office. Good for you. That's great. Fantastic.
I know him too.
That's good. Tell them I said hi.
Yeah, in the U.S. they're saying it infringes on their liberties, and some people say it's medically not good for them to wear it. I heard that one too.
Literally killing people.
Yep,
Is it? Are you sure?
No, it doesn't work like that.
Sure, because there's a lot of doctors that are dropping dead in the ER then.
So strange that people in the medical community wear them all day, every day, and they're still asking people to wear them. Huh. Weird. And it's weird that the nurses are messaging me, asking me to make them more masks. Must be really bad for them.
Yeah, you should just message them back. I understand these are really bad for you, so I can't make them anymore. See what kind of response you get.
Christians are saying makes using God's great gifts of breathing difficult.
Yes, God's natural breathing apparatus.
Difficult? Oh my goodness. Everyone who says something is unconstitutional in the U.S. has never read the Constitution.
Well, yeah. That's
got to twist it in a way that fits your narrative. Yeah. Fried peeps or fried butter? No.
Just no to both. I don't eat peeps at all, so.
Fried Kool-Aid. Yeah, I looked that one up too. I did look it up a bunch of things. And that.
She does her research in between live streams. No, Shadow, you're not coming up. I can't pick you up, obviously.
Are protests still happening in the States yet? And they're still happening here, too?
There was a body cam video released today of a Latino man that was killed in custody by the cops in Arizona. So that happened in April, so yeah. They've already had 3 police officers in that precinct resign over it.
They quit because they're not allowed to kill.
No, they resigned because of this, because this came out and they don't want to be in that precinct.
Because I keep seeing them quitting because they're not allowed to kill people.
Wait, I'm not allowed to kill everybody? Well, I don't know what I signed up to do this for.
Get a different job then.
To serve and restrict, right? Oh, protect. Oh, I thought it was to serve and restrict. I may have read things very, very wrong. I know it's to protect and serve in the U.S. Serve and protect in Canada.
I work at a grocery store. The Karens are plenty. I constantly get asked about prices, and I'm like, I don't make stupid prices. Go someplace else. Yeah. Number one cause of heart attacks: fried butter.
Usually during eating. At least then you don't have to do an autopsy. You just see them with the fried butter in their hand. You go, yeah, I found the culprit. That'll save us some money. What about the gunshot? You can shut up, Earl.
I had a guy when I worked in collections claim that he knew the owner of the business, and if I repoed his car, I would lose my job. I repoed his car, and gee, what a surprise. Nothing happened.
No. Yeah. As soon as you hear you're going to regret that, it means you won't.
I deal with Karens and Kevins every day. I've done it before where they ask for the manager. I say I'll go get him and then return and reintroduce myself as the manager. I used to do that. They didn't like it. But it was entertaining.
I used to love when I took supervisor calls. I used to love when I would take a supervisor call and then they would hang up the phone and call back thinking they were going to get a different call center. And they'd immediately ask for a supervisor and they'd get me again.
Yeah. Hi. So.
And I would see, and the funny thing was there was this one lady that she must have called like 4 times. And it got to the point where I was answering the phone and an agent goes, yeah, I got a supervisor call. I'm like, is it? I'll just say, Karen. I said, Karen? Yeah, how'd you know? Is she really mad about the last supervisor she talked to? She said he's a complete prick. That'd be me. I'll be right over. And I got over and she's like, I can't believe I got you again. I'm like, I told you I'm the only one working tonight. You're not getting anyone else. Well, we'll see about that. Not today, you won't. That's it. Well, I'm going to call back after your shit's done. Then you're going to call back after the queue closes because I'm working closing. She was so miserable. And it got to the point where the 4th time she's like, you're that same a-hole I talked to last time. And I said, yes, I am. She said, I hate you. I said, yes, you do. And she hung up.
Have you tried fried Snickers?
Why would people do that to Snickers?
How do you fry Kool-Aid? I'm guessing you deep freeze it like you would butter and then fry. No, okay, I looked it up. It's just Kool-Aid flavored, like, what do they call those?
Heart attacks?
No, you know where they put the dough in the fryer and then they cover it in
Corn
the
dogs?
icing sugar? No, funnel cakes.
Churros.
It's like they use the Kool-Aid in funnel cakes. It's like that. So it's really
terrible.
it's
You're ruining 2
flavored
foods
stuff.
at the same time.
Do you guys like lobster?
Nope. She calls them sea bugs. I don't live in the sea, so I don't eat very many things that come out of it.
They look like bugs and they eat the garbage.
If we're meant to eat that food, it would be on the land. And so since it's in the ocean, we're not meant to eat it. I don't go in somebody else's house and start taking their food, so why should I go in the ocean and do it?
People are saying it's medically not healthy for them, claiming it's because of asthma and stuff like that, which is...
I saw the asthma thing, which is so ridiculous.
Because they know they're like...
You wore a mask because of the asthma from the
so
fires.
I have asthma, which means sometimes I need to wear a mask.
You were wearing N95 masks 2 summers ago.
I know other people with asthma who wear a mask because it helps keep the particulates out of your breathing, your airways. Yeah, no.
It's so bizarre.
Do Canadian cops have body cams? They're not required.
They're starting to. But again, you have the RCMP, which is federal, and then you have city cops, which is completely different. So, even though in Canada everybody knows about the RCMP, it's not all RCMP.
We don't have RCMP in Abbotsford. But
nope,
most
they have it in
cities
Chilliwack.
Around us have RCMP.
Yeah, they have it in Chilliwack.
Best thing that Karen can say is, I'm never coming back here. Thank
Sounds
you.
good. I'm going to cancel my account. All right.
Have you tried fried ice cream? Yes. Have you had fried ice cream?
That's a terrible idea.
It's great.
It is not.
It is too. It's
Why are
really
you
good.
lying right now?
It's delicious.
Who makes you lie? No, who makes you
I
lie?
haven't had it like since I was little because we don't have Mexican restaurants here.
That's a terrible idea.
They're
Look at that.
great.
Clean race. 16,000 points. Nice.
Why don't Pixel and Shadow get along? Shadow's kind of a prick.
But Pixel's not exactly friendly
Nah.
with the cats either.
No.
I've been on her all day today about hissing at everybody.
Do you consider yourself famous on YouTube?
No. Nope. The moment that I do, that's when it's all over. The moment it goes to my head, there's a guy. So on Twitch now, there's some Twitch streamers that are being called out for being disgusting to girls,
So,
women in
bunch
general.
of boys, yeah, okay.
And they're answering with, yeah, well, whatever. It's because I'm famous, I'm good looking, and women like me, and this kind
Is
of stuff.
that not exactly what
And-
I say?
And so
That's generally how it is. It's
Yeah.
men that think they're amazing.
I
well,
find it funny because
who
now
wouldn't want this?
they're shedding subscribers,
Ew.
and they're like, oh, this is just gonna go away because who cares? And you know, girls are like this, and they throw themselves at you, and then when you
No.
say no,
By
then
throwing themselves, they mean existing.
yeah. So I thought it was pretty funny to see some of this going on, but yeah, I will never. I'm not gonna be. I would never do that. I would never be one to let it go to my head at all. It's as far as I'm concerned, I'm still just a guy talking to a webcam every day, and I'm just lucky enough to make a living doing it. I don't see it any other way.
Have you played Rocket League?
I have. I'm not great at Rocket League, though. There are reasons I don't play it, because the last thing I need is to be doing a live stream where people are like, no, press this button. No, press... Wow, you're really bad at this. And it just, yeah, it sucks the fun out of it, which I know already happens here. Like, I would do professional on this. I know I would do well with professional, but Tourette's might show up. I learned a long time ago that my Tourette's sometimes gets aggravated by games.
That's not how Tourette's works. But
So, I tend to play on a level that I know I can probably win. I may not get the same accolades for it, but, you know, I raced yesterday online, and I picked the wrong car, so I ended up 20 seconds out of first, because I had the wrong car. I knew right away when I saw the race, like, they show you the laps for the warm-up, and everybody's laps were at least 3 seconds better than mine. I was like, oh, crap, I picked the wrong car. And then, yeah, as soon as the race started, I was gone, but I did well.
Did you
Not
watch the Man
aligned
Show
too much.
episode on women's suffrage? Oh my gosh,
God.
I can't. There's no way that could have gone well.
That show was so...
That's not a show I watched. I did not find it funny at all. In any way.
I found parts of it funny. I thought the little kid melting people off was funny. Hitting on women was funny. He could definitely get away with saying things that most males
I
could
don't-
not get away with. But as
Like
the show
Jimmy
hit
Kimmel
the
funny,
end,
though, so.
as the show came to an end, the kid was getting too old for it. It was just becoming kind of creepy.
Not a show I liked. I didn't find it funny.
Well, there goes my clean
I don't
race.
find Jimmy Kimmel funny. I mean,
You know,
on the
that's the funny
occasion,
thing for
but
me.
I don't like his show.
I find Jimmy Kimmel sometimes insightful. I don't necessarily find him funny.
Generally, no.
I mean, like I said, I liked what he did with Jay Leno because I thought it was great. He called Jay Leno out on his own show. And the studio audience didn't boo him or anything. They were just sort of shocked that he was calling him out on his BS. Because what Leno did with Conan O'Brien was just unforgivable.
Thoughts on EA cracking down on racist and offensive account names? I think it's long overdue.
Oh, about
How is it
time.
allowed in the first place?
Yeah, if I can't have
understand.
a word in my name, you know, relating to genitalia of some sort or nipples, I don't understand how you can have racist words that aren't blocked. How am I better at my filters on my YouTube channel
That was my
than
thought.
they are on EA Sports?
We have so much that's automatically held that we have to okay. Yeah, they didn't do that for. I don't get it. What made you want to start making YouTube videos?
I just sort of fell into it. Middle-aged, didn't have very many people to talk to. And I started making videos, and next thing you know, a year and a half later, I'm suddenly getting views on them. It did take a year and a half before I had any views on them. My own people are like, oh, he just, you know, he got into it overnight. No, there was no overnight to this at all for me. But yeah, and then once it took off, I stuck with it. That's why I make videos every single day. I don't take a day off, even when we go on vacation.
Should Jimmy Kimmel seriously be canceled?
I'm going to vote no. I understand he did blackface. I understand he did all these really unfunny caricatures of people. But that was a long time ago, and it was accepted then. Mm-hmm. We just have to make sure that we all understand as a society that's not acceptable now.
It's tricky looking at things from the past with our opinions now.
Because you can get away with all kinds of stuff back then that you couldn't get away with now.
Didn't make it okay then, but
no.
people thought it was acceptable. Here's where Megan Fox loses me. He made you uncomfortable at 15, yet you worked with him 4 more times. No.
She didn't have a choice.
Nope. Okay, so this is where people don't get it at all. That's not how this works. You can use an example of dating a guy, okay? So you can date a guy and he can be just and pressure you into things that you wouldn't want to do. And you can then go on another date with him, knowing that it's probably not a good idea. But that doesn't make it okay. It doesn't make it so you're like, well, now I'm letting it. It's okay. I'm okaying it, even though you're saying no. That doesn't make it acceptable.
And there's no excuse.
It's a job.
There's no excuse for Michael Bay sexualizing a 15-year-old, knowing she's 15, and going, well, I'll put her in a bikini under a waterfall, getting all soaking wet. That's what I'll do. I don't care if she worked with him 50 times after that. It still doesn't make what he did okay or not creepy. It is absolutely creepy.
And being an actor,
Shabams.
She's going to work jobs that she can get. So this is somebody that was giving her a job.
There were people who worked with Woody Allen knowing what he was about after.
And if she didn't go with him, does that mean that she would be completely out of the industry? Very likely.
You look at how
still doesn't mean that she okay.
Rose McGowan was blackballed out of Hollywood because of her accusations on Harvey Weinstein. There are plenty of cases where actresses have been, they're difficult, and as soon as you have their reputation for being difficult, you're done. It's just
somebody's asking for you to turn the game sound down.
Well, I just turned a bunch. For frick's sake. It's the same level that it's been the whole time.
Have you seen the movie Big Daddy? Was that the one with Adam Sandler?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think it's not funny. No.
Yeah, it's alright.
No. Didn't you already talk about Michael Keaton being in Batman?
Yes.
The cat says 1, 2, 3. And Lily Bell, I think, is upstairs. She was upstairs with me earlier. What advice would you give someone who wants to start making YouTube videos? Shannon's done videos on that.
Just do your own thing. Don't try to be somebody else. Just do your own thing.
But there are a couple. You did one recently.
Yeah.
Like since the world shutting down, you've done a video about your recommendations for people wanting to do YouTube.
Absolutely. Okay, do I want to use the Mazda? No. I don't want to use the Civic either.
Okay. It doesn't make it okay, but she has options too. She can choose not to work with him again. It's like those girls that continue to date an abuser and complain about it. No.
She wasn't getting a lot of offers for roles. When she was in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, her career was basically considered almost done after that. She did Jennifer's Body, and then a couple other things.
Okay.
I know.
No.
I know.
No. I don't know how to even explain this. It is not the woman's fault for continuing to date an abuser. It is not easy to leave.
No.
It is not. No. I know way too many people that when you're with somebody that's abusive, you can't just leave.
No. My dad was abusive.
You can't. It doesn't work like that. And there's no part of that. Is it the victim's fault?
Nope. But definitely my mother got blamed for it.
You usually cannot leave.
Yeah, there was a lot of people who told my mother, well, you knew what he was.
No.
Why'd you stay? And it wasn't that easy.
No.
For financial reasons, she couldn't leave.
Yes. And luckily now it's getting easier for women to leave. It used to be women really couldn't. You didn't have an option.
But there's in some
you
cases they get really threatening and they're psychotic, and the police, and there's been cases too where the police, maybe they're buddies with the guy, maybe they just think, oh, she's just blowing off steam, she's not serious.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of reasons why,
believed.
or self-esteem issues.
Yep.
There's a lot of reasons.
A lot of women think that's all they deserve.
Yeah. I've had that conversation with more than one woman in my life where I'm like, you need to get out of here, and they're like, no, this is what I get.
This is
is what I get. This is what I deserve, and I'm like, based on what? Yeah. Fear of being alone is big. Fear of being alone is huge.
Yep. Because as a woman,
it was part of the reason my ex and I stayed together as long as we did. I think, and I remember my ex used to get really upset just with the idea of us breaking up, not because she was worried about losing me, but because she didn't want to be alone. So, there's a lot of reasons why somebody would stay in a bad situation. And victim blaming is just, if somebody has a low self-esteem and there's victim blaming going on, well, they're already blaming themselves anyways.
Yep. What state would be the most unsuccessful for NHL team? I would think somewhere in the middle.
Mississippi?
Maybe.
I mean, they had a team in the SPHL and it failed, so.
There's just a lot of places in the States, kind of like the prairies in Canada, without the snow, where you have an area, but it's not easy for other people to travel to it.
Right.
So you might not have a big enough fan base. I would think there's a lot of areas, especially in the middle of the country, that just wouldn't work.
Well, if they don't know the rules and they don't have any kind of history with it.
Right. If those are the only jobs you're going to get, you'll take them. Absolutely.
Yeah, and Megan Fox was not exactly a hot commodity in Hollywood after
Especially
Dark
when
of the
you're
Moon.
young, too.
Yeah. After Dark of the Moon, she was not. And then Jennifer's Body was a flop. So Hollywood went, well, she's not a draw. And from there on, it just sort of went downhill. And then she did have the reputation for being a troublemaker. But when you come out and say, so this director's a creep, and people just laugh about it, your story of being a 15-year-old and being sexualized, all right.
Where were you guys when the O.J. Simpson stuff happened? I was grade 9. 9?
Yeah, I remember I remember long debates I had with people when that trial was going on, and especially after the not guilty verdict. There were a lot of long debates that were had about that.
We watched the non-guilty verdict at school.
And keep in mind, I'm in Canada, and we had a lot of debates about OJ and celebrity and, what kind of treatment he got from the police and what kind of treatment other people might have got from the police in the same situation.
Well, people are thinking about states. Georgia and Atlanta clearly didn't work twice. A team in Nebraska would fail. Atlanta, Georgia failed twice. Nebraska's too close to Colorado. Megan Fox has no talent. She can't blame Michael Bay for that part. Well,
I wouldn't say she's got no talent.
They didn't let her use any talent, so
she goes to Michael Bay and goes, hey, so I want him more than an eye candy roll. And he goes, yeah, just go there and be sexy. That's not even giving her the opportunity. It's like writing off Hayden Christensen and saying, well, he sucks as an actor because of what he did in the prequels for Star Wars when he didn't have a good script to follow. It's not like Transformers was, Citizen Kane here.
Megan Fox was the one getting criticized for calling out Michael Bay. As
yes.
always, people treated him like the victim. Yep.
And then if for an actor, they'll come out and say, well, don't work with this person, and Hollywood listens. That was where Harvey Weinstein had all that influence too. This person is difficult. All right, well.
Yep. A team in Hawaii would fail hilariously. Oh, that would so.
I can't imagine the travel. travel would be terrible.
It wouldn't work either way. It wouldn't work for the team, and it wouldn't work for fans.
No, that would be awful. And just imagine if they put a team in Hawaii before they put a team in Quebec. People would go nuts.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Will Toronto be a hub city when NHL returns?
That's promising.
If Vancouver doesn't get it, I would probably put Toronto ahead of Edmonton, which would make Edmonton mad, but I would probably put Toronto ahead of Edmonton just because of their track record with having international tournaments there before. And the point of, do players want to go and play in Edmonton during the late summer? And I think it'll be interesting to see what they do. I don't think I want that. Do I want this?
Vancouver is out of the running for it.
Right now. They're not completely out, but right now it looks like Vancouver's not going to happen because they want more safety protocols than what the NHL is willing to put in place. Oh, I'll be right back. Yeah, you can answer all kinds of questions.
Well, not when they ask hockey stuff.
Oh, especially the hockey.
He has a ton of cars in this. I don't even know what all cars he has. He has a lot. Shannon's watched iZombie. I haven't. No, today's pretty good. Yeah. Got a fire pit, so we're gonna do pretend camping in the backyard. So, that'll be fun.
Shadow?
Oh, no basketball questions. I don't know basketball-y stuff.
What are they asking you?
He said he should ask basketball questions.
Oh, about Tim Duncan? You can answer questions about Tim Duncan? Do I need another Porsche? I always need another Porsche. That's just a silly question.
No, Bay was wrong to do what he did. I don't defend him. Just saying, when she tries to go, he ruined my career. I don't buy it. Talent overcomes these things in Hollywood. Nope.
Not necessarily. Winona Ryder, Rose McGowan. Once you've got a reputation, once people say, well, you're done, it can be really, really tough to overcome that.
Yep. Hey, Yvonne, I found one thing we have in common, a distaste for football.
Woohoo, yeah, I don't understand your dislike for football. I don't get that.
Yvonne, did you ever watch the Tim Burton Batman movies? Nope.
You watched the first one with me. Jack Nicholson was Joker.
Did I watch it?
Yeah.
I remember us talking about watching it. I don't remember us actually watching it, though.
You didn't make it all the way through it, but you watched it.
Oh, is that why I don't remember it?
Yeah, probably. All right, which
favorite
color
Gilligan's Island character other than Gilligan?
Marianne.
I don't remember.
Most full-blooded males will say Marianne. That's usually the case.
I know. Best Canadian NBA player?
All time, Steve Nash.
What
Nice.
series is better, Star Wars or Rocky?
Star Wars.
Didn't Winona Ryder get caught stealing or something?
Yeah, she got caught shoplifting, and then she just got blackballed out of Hollywood. Which is just ridiculous to me. It's such a minor deal.
Yet people can get DUIs and...
Yeah, it's such a minor thing. It's embarrassing, but it doesn't mean that you're done, you're out of here, and yet that seemed to be the case for her. All right, let's try this.
Many actresses have been blacklisted who are extremely talented and their careers was trashed. Exactly.
That's the reason Meryl Streep gets so fed up with all this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Maybe for men, talent will save your career, but not for women.
Mel Gibson.
Right?
Mel Gibson
one
and
I am just
Alec Baldwin.
by.
Alec Baldwin, we heard the way he yelled and screamed at his daughter on the phone.
Yep.
He still got a career. He was just awful. Christian Bale, the way he yelled and screamed at a guy on the set, never affected his career adversely. People were like, oh yeah, it sounds about right.
Mm-hmm. Did you guys like watching Golden Girls?
I love Golden Girls.
Never really watched it. When you're a millionaire, shoplifting seems really low. You know, most people that shoplift have money for whatever they're shoplifting, so it doesn't really matter how much money you have.
No.
That's generally the case. So, yeah. Who else watched Charlotte's Web and almost went vegan? I've never watched it. I read the book.
Really? You never watched Charlotte's Web?
No.
It's a great movie.
It's interesting to see that women are seen as replaceable in Hollywood, but not men.
Because
women are there for looks.
Yeah, they say women don't sell tickets. People don't pay to watch women in the theaters.
It's not for their talent or their skills. It's for their
when a woman's in her 40s, she doesn't get cast anymore. Especially as a romantic lead. That's not possible because that's just not possible. But men could be romantic leads into their 60s, 70s. Sean Connery being a good example.
Would Shannon go to a NASCAR race?
Yes. I don't think Yvonne would, but I would.
Nah, pass. Who do you think gets first overall pick?
I still think it's going to be Ottawa. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't Ottawa.
Watch Shattered Glass shows how good Hayden is, and I personally think he was great in ROTS, especially in the scenes where the dialogue is decent or non-existent.
The dialogue's terrible in Revenge of the Sith. It's terrible in the prequels in general, but yeah, it's not on him. It's sort of like Robert Pattinson with the Twilight movies. He's a good actor. Just the dialogue in Twilight is awful. Twilight in general is awful, and he's just taking a job. It's just his job.
Is WWE sexist?
Yes.
Absolutely.
The wrestling industry in general is, and they're starting to get called out on it. It is very much an old boys network, and so we're starting to see that reckoning.
So shoplifting gets you blackballed, but assault, sexual misconduct, and a few other crimes are okay.
Absolutely.
Yep. Who is the consensus #1 overall picked in next year's draft?
Next year's is Shane Wright, I think. I think Shane Wright's the one for next year. He's supposed to be fantastic. He had exceptional status.
Shannon, do you want, as I do, Red Wings to fall out of top 2 or top 3 just to see what Yzerman could do?
I don't want them to fall out of it because they definitely were the worst team in the league. It wasn't even close, but I would think Yzerman will figure it out. Yzerman's a pretty smart GM, so if he doesn't get the #1 pick, I still think he'll come out of it with a pretty solid player.
Are WWE's best days behind them?
Yes.
Worst movie quote ever. I hate sand.
It gets everywhere. It's so coarse and it gets everywhere.
Okay. How many seasons till the Caps are in rebuilding mode?
The Caps?
Yep.
I'll say 3. I would say, soon enough we'll see the Capitals and the Penguins both in a rebuild. Because Ovechkin, Crosby, Malkin, they have to get old sometime.
A neighbor was a shoplifter and she was very comfortable financially. When she passed away, her children cleaned out her house and found tons of items with price tags. She was banned from many stores here.
It's a sign that you're a kleptomaniac. Like, kleptomaniacs don't really realize what they're doing some of the time. It's just it's a behavior
rush.
that
Yep.
They have. And not to make excuses for it, but it happens, and it doesn't mean they're horrible people.
If your first pick in the NHL draft and Ottawa picks first, would you pull a Lindros and refuse to play there?
No. There isn't any team right now that I think anybody would necessarily refuse to play for. I think in the case of Buffalo and Ottawa, you might have some reservations, but I don't think there's any case where you don't sign and report.
Should the NHL change their drug policy? If I got hurt, I'd rather trade medical cannabis than painkillers that could get me addicted and maybe kill me.
Marijuana is legal. It's not something that gives you any kind of an advantage on the ice. Should absolutely be legal. CBD oils should be legal. It shouldn't be a problem.
Did you watch the TV show Taxi? If yes, do you have a favorite episode?
Oh, favorite episode of Taxi? When Laka got married would probably be up there, because it was if you're a virgin and you put this wreath on your head, and if you make it all the way around, I'm trying to remember what it was. If you can do this full lap, then you're proven to be a virgin. And Carol Kane Simca, she didn't make it one lap around. It just fell right off her head. Absolutely one of the funniest moments ever.
Thoughts on females in comic book films? I find a lot of their characters aren't written well. That's generally the case.
Comic books are, have been written with the idea that the women are eye candy for decades. So it's going to take a long time before the female characters are really completely fleshed out, and they're as strong as the male characters. One rumor is that it'll be Iron Man's daughter that takes over the Iron Man mantle. That would work. But you have to make sure, too, that it's not forced. Like that scene in Avengers Endgame where all the women are all lined up, and I was like, oh, they forced that right in there, didn't they? So you have to make sure it doesn't look forced, but I do think you can make it work.
If Ottawa gets both number 1 and number 2 picks, will they draft Lafreniere as their second pick?
No. You take the guy with the number 1 pick who belongs as the number 1 pick.
Did you see the movie Sandlot?
I think I have.
I have.
I want to say I watched that a long time ago. I'm pretty sure I've seen it. This track isn't long enough for me to catch up to all the others.
Hedberg and Jim Gaffigan, 2 of my favorite comedians, and their comedy was and is not completely filthy. They are both great.
Gaffigan is hilarious.
Somebody says Vancouver is out as Hub City. Very well.
Yes, because it was men buying it.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. It's men buying it. So you have to find a way to appeal to more female comic book readers.
Women in superhero movies. I'm scared. Please save me, big, strong male superhero. Yeah.
Well, like, looking at female heroes, 9 times out of 10, they're knockoffs of the male version. So you have Batwoman with Batman. You have female versions of all these other heroes, or they're lame, and they're basically, it's the way that they're drawn, and that's their figure more than an actual character. So that's where the issue is. It's sort of like how they tried to make a women's action movie with The Long Kiss Goodnight with Gina Davis, and then the movie didn't do very well in the theaters, and they went, well, that's it. People don't want to see women as action heroes. Well, no, Gina Davis didn't have a history as a hero in any of these movies. Plus, it was a great movie. I never understood why Hollywood went, that's it. Long Kiss Goodnight was a very good movie, and it's just a matter of, just because one failed doesn't mean you don't try again.
What are your thoughts on The Undertaker retiring?
It's long overdue. He should have been gone, I'll say 3 years ago. It's long overdue.
I was pleased that the Marvel Cinematic Universe chose to not have Scarlet Witch wear the outfit she wears in the comics.
I'm pretty sure Elizabeth Olsen would have been like, no. I'm not.
I don't think so.
Not doing that. No. And Elizabeth Olsen's a good actress, and I think she's done a good job as Scarlet Witch.
Female versions of male superheroes, lazy writing.
But it's comic book writing. I mean, it's sort of comic book 101, and that's something that's just going to have to change, and it's going to take a long time. They can't shoehorn in a whole bunch of female superhero movies either, because people aren't going to want that. You can't force it to happen.
Thoughts on report of Twister reboot?
Shannon
loves that movie.
They want to do a sequel to Twister, is what people want to see. And
why? Who are these people?
I hated that movie so much There was so much to hate in the movie Twister. I don't know where to start with it. It's so stupid. There were so many moments in that movie that made me yell at the screen. Where I was like, this isn't science. How? I mean, they use sciencey words, but none of it's science. And if you're paying any attention, you're like, this is beyond stupid. And basically any movie about natural disasters, I'm probably going to be yelling at the screen anyways.
True.
But Twister was really bad. Like, not Day After Tomorrow bad, but up there. Day After Tomorrow is just unforgivable.
Thoughts on how long you think the Tampa Bay Lightning will be relevant in the future?
You know, the one thing with Tampa, they always have good young kids coming up. They could go for another 5 or 6 years before they have to worry about it.
One of my favorite movie quotes: God creates dinosaur, God destroys dinosaur, God creates man, man creates dinosaur, dinosaurs eat man, woman takes over the earth.
That's Jeff Goldblum, isn't it? In Jurassic Park?
I think so. I remember that one. They informed Elizabeth Olsen that she would not wear the comic book outfit from the start. They wanted her to know when they offered her the job she didn't even have to speak up against it. They probably realized this won't work. If she moves, she'll fall out. We don't have enough tape. Why is it always the actor or actress that made the movie fail instead of terrible writing and a poor storyline?
Well, yeah, they always take the brunt of the blame for that. How many bad movies have certain directors got that we know they're bad movie directors, but they get tons of opportunity to make more bad movies, and they got a ton of money to make the bad movies?
Twister's a garbage movie. Nothing good about that movie.
It is funny. It's unintentionally funny in places.
Will the Tampa Bay Rays be relocated to Montreal?
I don't think so. But we do need a baseball team in Montreal. The one thing with Twister was that Jamie Gertz, who was like one of my favorite people from the 80s, she's fantastic. Her character's just treated like crap in that whole movie Twister. Like, you know, I get it that Helen Hunt's getting back together with her ex-husband, but do you really have to keep throwing around Jamie Gertz like, oh, well, she dies, we don't care, ha ha ha. Like, give me a break. I could totally understand why she would have beat the crap out of, it was Bill Pullman was her, I think was the guy, oh, yeah, wasn't it? No, it wasn't John Paxson. Anyways, yeah, I couldn't understand why her character was so treated like she was terrible when she had perfectly reasonable reasons to be concerned.
Are you a fan of John Cena?
Yes. John Cena took a lot of flack that he didn't deserve. I'm a fan of Roman Reigns, but I will say I agree with Chris Jericho on what he said recently, that he thinks Roman Reigns would be better off if they just stopped giving him scripts and let him be himself. I've seen Roman Reigns in interviews away from WWE. He's very personable, very down-to-earth, great guy. And for some reason, WWE want to portray him as being a superhero, and it just doesn't work.
Did OJ do it? If so,
yes.
Why?
Jealousy. He was a very jealous, possessive man. I totally believe he did it. The fact that he wrote a book that was called If I Did It, and it detailed how he did it, tells you he probably did it. Because, yeah, that's a hint that he did it. But I will say the prosecution in that case really screwed up bad. They screwed up so bad in that case.
Hold on.
What are you doing?
Somebody's messaging me about caps.
Oh, tell them we're not doing caps anymore. Say no habla inglés.
How this works.
Yeah. Tell them it's okay. Tell them you're talking to people in the States and the caps are just killing people.
Oh,
so
goodness.
We're not making caps anymore.
No. New numbers for today.
I can't.
It's high.
Define high. 20?
Yes, 20. There's 20 new cases.
Okay.
Do
we want to get into the 5,000 in Florida?
No, but we haven't had that high in forever. ever.
Yeah, because we're reopening. So they knew the cases were going to go up because we're reopening. Nothing to worry about.
Do you like the movie Happy Gilmore?
I love Happy Gilmore. What's not to like about Happy Gilmore? And exit. This is kind of a fun. That means that when you race it, you have to race against all the other ones of the same car.
Do you think the MCU will eventually end or reboot?
It'll end when it stops making money. It'll reboot 5 years after it stops making money.
What do you think will end up happening with the situation between MLB and MILB, minor league baseball?
I think they'll find a way to keep it afloat because they have to. You have to have a feeder league. It doesn't. You can't not have a feeder league. That just doesn't work. Now what are you doing?
I'm just explaining something.
Is she asking for a certain kind of cap?
Yeah, so, okay, hold on.
Oh, man. All this racing really tuckers me out.
Okay, so,
working out the
you
arms.
know how I had the nurse come and pick up a bunch of caps yesterday?
Yep.
A couple of them that I gave her, somebody dropped off some caps. She dropped off about 6, so I gave her 3 of these caps. And the nurse messaged me and said, we cannot use these caps.
Oh.
I will give them back to you. It's their violence prevention. So these caps, I hadn't even looked at them, use ribbons instead of, you know how mine have the fabric ties and they're just ties. The ribbons could be used against them to choke them.
Oh, okay.
So they're
well,
not
yeah.
allowed to use them. And so I explained to the lady that made the 6 caps. I said they cannot use those kind of caps. I'll see if maybe one of the elder homes can take them, but the hospitals cannot use those. And so she's asking me a gajillion questions of, wait, but what is allowed? Like, okay, everything else is allowed. All the other, here, use this pattern.
Yeah.
But what do I need to change? No, you just use this pattern. Just, here's this pattern. This works great. You just can't do ribbons.
Right.
So, she's kind of all thrown off by this. Okay. Rob Manfred or Roger Goodell? Who's worst?
Oh, Manfred's the worst. It's not even close. Manfred is complete. It feels like he's completely out of his depth running Major League Baseball, and he's a disaster.
Alexa Bliss should go back to a heel. Not a good girl like she is right now. Don't you think?
I think what hurts Lexi is we know she's Lexi, and she's a really sweet girl, and so it's hard for her to get over as a heel. I think that's part of it. Like, everybody likes her, so it's hard for people to turn on her. I think eventually they'll turn her against Nikki Cross, and I think she'll definitely be the bad guy in that situation, but it's going to be tough to get her over as a heel because people like Lexi. I've always loved Lexa Bliss since before I met Yvonne. One of the first time I made you watch wrestling, I was like, this is my favorite.
Yeah. Did you like CM Punk?
I was a very big fan of CM Punk. I thought he was very, very talented, and I thought he was difficult. You could see why WWE didn't want to push him, but he was also very, very talented. Is that the mask maker again?
Yeah.
Cap maker?
Yeah.
Part breaker?
Thoughts on Undertaker
Dream maker?
retiring after 30 years?
It's overdue. It was time for him to go. Definitely time for him to go. Don't you dare nudge me. Don't you do it. Don't you do it.
Vancouver no longer hub city.
Yeah, I'm not worried.
Yeah, people... Yes, got it.
Yeah. I did a video on it earlier. And on Adrian Dix... Well, I didn't do a video on what Adrian Dix said, but eventually I will. Because what Adrian Dix said is very revealing.
Has one downvote. Like, we don't know who that is. I know, glad to see he's well. He's still there, has lots of time watching all the videos. Hope he watches the ads.
That's the important thing, is the ad watching.
Do you like both Gremlins and Gremlins 2?
Yes, and I'm actually more of a fan of Gremlins 2 than the first Gremlins.
They have it at the theater for Christmas. It's great. I took the kids to it. It was really fun. They really like it, so that's fun.
Well, what's not to like about Gremlins? Gremlins
In the
is fantastic.
theater!
Yeah.
Commissioners should be elected and have set terms like politicians. Agree or disagree?
Well, they kind of sort of do, because if at any point in time they're not doing what they're supposed to do, then they're going to get fired. So at any point in time, any commissioner in a sport can be fired by the owners. So they already kind of sort of have that in place.
Okay.
How far am I through this? I'm about halfway. So this is the race where it just goes on forever like this. It's just...
Yeah, we have certain special people that like to watch
There's
every
a voice.
single video just
Keeps
to
on calling me.
download them, and it's kind of humorous because he thinks that downvoting it does something, but instead he's adding to the minutes videos are watched. So it's nice of him to add to all the minutes, and
Yep.
he watches, or at least clicks on every single video,
True
every
that.
single one. And live streams is always when we're still live streaming, so it makes me wonder how much of it he watches.
True that.
I'm gonna guess most of it, because he clearly has plenty of time.
Right now, everybody has plenty of time.
That means he's also a subscriber. He has the notifications on.
True.
So, that's really nice of him.
So that all helps my numbers.
Yeah, it helps. That's why it's so funny. I'm like, thank you.
All of that helps my numbers. So there you go.
The downvote does absolutely nothing.
Downvotes do nothing. It's
So-
sort of like downvoting a comment. It literally goes nowhere. It used to, but it doesn't anymore because people abused it. So YouTube went, all right, well, we'll just make sure that doesn't do anything. It's so bizarre.
I saw the Man Show on YouTube a couple weeks ago, and I can't believe that got on TV.
Yes. It would not now.
And I did not like that show then either.
I wasn't a fan. It was always on right before Jon Stewart. So I'd go to watch Daily Show and I'd be like,
jumping on the trampoline.
yeah, girls on the trampoline again.
Seriously. Yeah. Has the NHL ever removed an owner or a commissioner?
They created a brand new league to get rid of James Livingstone, or Eddie Livingstone, I should say. I'm trying to think if they've ever removed an owner. I mean, obviously there have been owners that they wanted to get rid of. They refused to let Jim Balsillie into the league as an owner. They also, obviously, Spano in New York for the Islanders. They had to get him out of there because he had no actual money. There have been situations where they've stepped in, but it has to be pretty dramatic. So for the NHL to step in for, say, Ottawa or something like that, it would have to be something pretty dramatic for them to step in and say, all right, so we're gonna put an end to this, put a kibosh to this.
Commissioners work for the owners. If you have a problem with any league, talk to the owner.
Yep.
Should I get my son a hockey stick with a curve or a flat blade?
Very, very slight curve.
No,
figure out which way they
hockey.
shoot, right or left, and make it a very, very slight curve.
Street hockey, we get them the straight blades, but for
Yep.
ice hockey, we do curved blades.
Look at that. All them Taycan Turbo S's.
Have you seen the movie Chuck and Larry? I feel that movie couldn't be made now.
Oh, that's the one Kevin James gets married to Adam Sandler. They pretend they're gay.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Oh, I never watched it because I was like, oh, okay,
No.
I can skip that.
Yeah.
Every Rob Schneider character in every Adam Sandler movie.
Yes, they're all the same.
All of them are offensive, and I don't think
Yes.
you can be any of them anymore.
What race is he in this movie? Ugh.
Even the Cajun character, I'm thinking, you know what, that's kind of offensive too. So that you can do it, that probably doesn't fly now
Yeah,
either.
right.
So,
Favorite
yeah.
Letterkenny character? Rald. He's great.
See, for me, it'd be Squirrely Dan.
I really like Rald. He's fantastic.
Rawld's amazing, but
And he gets better as the season
So I would
goes
say
on.
Squirrely Dan for the male characters, and Tanis is my favorite of the female characters. Tanis is hilarious.
I like Rald.
Yeah,
but yeah, Squirrely Dan, just when he ran off, when he's like, your sister's hot, Wayne, and then he ran off through the field.
Yeah, just going.
Your sister's hot. There, I said it. He runs off, and then take 10% off. Oh, yeah, Oh, hello, ground. And just how he looks in the other direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really funny.
Have you watched Tucker and Dale versus Evil?
I love Tucker and Dale versus Evil. We let the boys watch that one, too. The boys got a real kick out of that one. That is a really funny movie. Just when the kid jumps in the wood chipper. These kids have a suicide pact. He threw himself into the wood chipper.
It's been years since I've seen a team challenge an illegal stick. Is that still a penalty?
It is, but you have equipment managers to make sure on all of that, and a lot more staff than you used to have. So there really should be almost no chance that you're going to have a violation for that. If there was one, you have to think somebody's losing their job.
Could the NHL expand to Europe?
No, based on the travel schedule, I think that would just make it virtually impossible. I'll try the Taycan Tuscany Toucan for the Tuscany Toucan on this.
Have you watched Blazing Saddles, speaking of offensive movies?
Oh, Blazing Saddles is hilarious. Most Mel Brooks movies you couldn't do now. Most of the Mel Brooks movies you could not do now because of the jokes in them. And Blazing Saddles would be on that list. I think even parts of Spaceballs you couldn't get away with now. But yeah, Blazing Saddles is pretty funny.
Did you watch Tiger King?
I love Tiger King.
Bunch of horrible people.
Oh, there's not a good person in the entire thing.
Bunch of horrible people.
Yeah, there's not a good person in the whole thing, but it is funny.
Have you seen Saving Private Ryan?
I love Saving Private Ryan. That movie's fantastic. You've seen that bit online where they talk about how much money Hollywood spend on saving Matt Damon?
Oh, yes.
And they totaled up The Martian and Saving
Yeah.
Private Ryan, and then there was another one, too. And it's in the billions of dollars that's been spent trying to save Matt Damon. Matt would quit getting himself into these troubles.
Could we get an NHL team in Alaska? It only makes sense.
For travel reasons, I'm not sure that it would work. And then there's the population center, too, so.
You should watch Jojo Rabbit.
I have Jojo Rabbit. Jojo Rabbit's fantastic. Did the kids like Jojo Rabbit?
Yep. The boys are so funny. So we learned about World War II earlier this year. So there were movies that we had them watch, but we would have them watch it when Adelaide wasn't at home. And Gabriel, so does this one have a happy ending? Gabriel, it's a World War II movie. None of them have happy endings.
No.
It's a World War II movie.
Except Schindler's. Schindler's has a happy ending to it. It doesn't. I'm just kidding.
If Boston Bruins are going... Is Boston Bruins... okay, how to word this? Okay, will Boston Bruins rebuild in the future?
Eventually, but they don't need to yet. They've got some pretty good young talent, too. It's just a matter of whether or not they're able to make up for the loss of Bergeron when that day comes. Krejci's not getting any younger. Obviously, Chara's getting close to ending his career. You have to have guys to replace them. I have some faith in Don Sweeney, though, despite the 2015 draft and all.
Could the NHL ever expand to Baltimore?
I've never heard Baltimore as a potential location, so I would think unless you get a building and an owner that there's both instances of wanting a team there, I can't see it.
The saddest movie, in my opinion, is Boy in Striped Pajamas. That is a really sad movie, and I made the boys watch it.
I remember that was one that I think really upset my ex, and I was like, well, what did you think was going to happen? The kid's Jewish.
Yeah, it's a very sad movie, but
why don't they warn us about that ending? I'm like, the kid was Jewish.
Right. Like I told the boys, it's a World War II movie. It's not going to have a happy ending.
There's a lesson in it. And
one, I think, also did a good job of showing a bit of the people that lived in Germany as well, like their side of it.
Yes.
How some of them didn't really get what was going on, and some did, but this is their opinion.
Well, some of them were in denial of what was going on.
Right. And so I thought that's interesting that it added that. So that's part of why I had the boys watch it. And I also had them watch it because, and kids were in this too. This wasn't just stupid adults, so.
Yes.
Know a band called Sabaton. They sing about history. I don't recognize the name.
I've heard the band's name before.
At our school, some of the parents got in an argument with the school because our history teacher showed us documentaries of the Holocaust that were graphic.
How can they not be graphic?
Because the pictures are all graphic.
Yeah, I don't know how you could make that not graphic.
Right? Yeah. Have you watched Cat from Outer Space?
I don't think I ever watched that.
What?
I don't think I ever did. I wouldn't have any interest in watching that.
What?
Why would I want to watch that? That was a Disney movie, right?
It is, yeah.
Well, in the 80s, I think. And I was like, nah, I'm not watching that.
Wasn't that before the 80s? Wasn't that
Might have been.
60s?
Might have been. I don't know. Either way, I know it was on the Disney Hour show that was on every Sunday night.
Yeah, those were great.
Where I used to get excited if it was a nature show or like one of the cartoon ones, but as soon as it was something like that, I'd be like, never mind. Unless it was Herbie. Herbie was something I could enjoy.
I liked Herbie too. Not all Germans were bad. Many were afraid to speak out. Many of them were also good at hiding people and smuggling people. When we were doing our thing for school learning about, we did a lot of reading stories and things about the citizens that helped people out, either by smuggling food or smuggling babies out, and there were a lot of people that were helping. We did it. Yeah,
well, and they showed that in Schindler's as well.
There
were Germans that were helping.
Yeah, we did almost a week of learning about different people that helped not only the Jewish people, but the people that the Nazis were going after. So.
I still remember the British comedy show Allo, which was about the French Resistance. Did you ever watch that one?
Which one?
Allo, which was about the French Resistance during the war.
I think so. That sounds familiar.
They had one episode where they were dressed up as a cow, and then they dropped something out of the cow, so you see like a flashlight coming out of the bottom of the cow. It was one of the funniest shows I ever watched, but it gets into the World War II bit, and it's very, honest about it.
So was it like Underground Railroad? No. So in Germany, and not just Germany, Poland, all the countries around it, they couldn't do like the Underground Railroad because they would be found out.
Oh, for
It
sure.
would be more like families sneaking. I'm trying to remember what country it was. There were families that would sneak people on the boats and get them to Switzerland, like putting them under the fish. There was a lady that snuck babies out of the ghetto, and she actually wrote down all of the information every time she got a baby. Well, it wasn't all babies. Some were toddlers. She'd sneak out babies and toddlers out of the ghetto before they got to the camps or anything, and she would write down the family's information, and she would take them to somebody else, and she had all these connections, and she was actually arrested, but they weren't able to try her, and they eventually had to let her go. And then after the war, she had buried all of her paper with all the names, and they were able to reunite some of the children with their families. Most of their families were killed, of course, but yeah, she saved hundreds of babies. I can't even remember her name right now, but there were a lot of people that did things like that. I learned from my dad that on my mom's side of the family, I had a relative who was an SS officer. We don't talk about him.
Makes sense.
They went after blacks and gays too. Yes, and
absolutely.
And gypsies.
Yep.
Gypsies were another one.
Yep.
There were a lot of people that they went after as well. Yeah. Many German soldiers were also drafted and forced to fight. Yep.
Especially towards the end when they were taking kids.
Especially as a child, yeah.
Yeah, that's something they show in Jojo Rabbit as well.
Yeah.
Is the kids that were in the military. The little kids, like, holy crap, seriously, you're strapping a gun to that kid and sending him out to the front lines?
Do you think a second wave will happen?
We're still in the first one.
We have to finish the first wave first.
Yeah, the first wave has to go away before you get a second wave.
Our numbers have definitely gone up, but I mean, when our numbers were like 6 a day to having our numbers today went to 20, it's still reasonable, and they knew. Dr. Henry told us that would happen, that our numbers would go up a little bit, but as long as they're staying manageable, that's okay. But in places like in the States, they haven't finished a first wave. It has to go down in numbers first.
Yep. And it really
Are you
didn't.
okay with Vancouver losing out on the hub city?
Yeah, I don't care.
It doesn't actually affect anything, so...
It's not like we were going to go to Vancouver and meet players or anything like that. And from what I've heard, it was... Vancouver made the right call. BC Health did the right thing.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely agree with that. And they're like, you're not... No. We're not putting people at risk here. There's a reason our numbers are good.
Yep. And of course, people are saying, well, you know, the numbers in BC have been fine. This just proves we didn't need the lockdown. Actually, they proved the lockdown worked.
That's not how that works.
They proved the lockdown was worked because in other areas where they didn't have a lockdown, they're much worse off than we are. So it means the lockdown worked.
Any predictions for the lottery tomorrow?
Ottawa will get at least one of the top 3 picks, and I would think a California team, either Anaheim or LA, gets one of the other top 3 as well.
Have you watched Band of Brothers and or The Pacific?
I started Band of Brothers. I never finished it. I hate to admit that, but I never finished it. It's supposed to be a great show.
Did you guys know about the Norwegian saboteurs who sabotaged a heavy water plant so Germany couldn't build a nuclear weapon?
There was a lot of sabotage going on with German munitions during that war. There were a lot of people who realized what the Germans could do and made sure that it didn't come to fruition as much as they possibly could without getting caught.
Pacific was a disappointment after watching Band of Brothers. How long have we been doing this? I do need to go soon.
Okay.
An hour, almost 40 minutes.
We've only been doing this for 40 minutes?
An hour and 40 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad. I don't know what you're complaining about.
I'm not complaining about anything.
She's totally complaining. When we get off camera, then she starts throwing stuff at me.
You know, somebody might believe you.
Good. That's good. Because, you know, it's important to be believed
I'm
these
nice
days.
to him, don't listen to him.
Mostly.
Who will be considered the Cup favorites when hockey returns?
Boston will be a favorite in the East. St. Louis will be a favorite in the West because they went to the Cup finals last year and met each other. And I'm guessing by the time we're to the final 8, they're both out. So, those will be the favorites, though. Whoever's the favorites, they usually go out early.
Lisa's trying to encourage me to throw something at you.
Not while I'm racing. It's a bad idea.
Do we see Canada win a cup in the next 5 years?
God, I hope so.
No, that'd be great.
I want that narrative to go away that somehow it's Bettman's fault the Canadian teams have been run ineptly. That he thrust poor GM's trades and drafts on them.
Do you have a favorite KHL team?
Not really, no. Sadly, no. In the old days, Kimmich was my favorite because I thought Kimmich's jerseys were so ridiculously over the top. I thought Kimmich jerseys were great. That'll surprise everybody.
Favorite NHL tradition?
Handshakes. Handshakes at the end of a playoff round.
Why?
That's my favorite tradition because it's gentlemanly. You don't see that in every other sport. You don't see them line up like that.
Handshakes are gross.
Wait until we get to the part. Wait till we get to the part of Last Dance where one of the teams that the Bulls play refused to shake hands with them and said, "Well, that's just the way that works. You just don't shake hands because you just don't shake hands," which was BS Yeah, everybody hated us because we didn't shake hands, but it's normal not to shake hands. It's not normal to be a dick. Sorry.
I saw a comment saying Bettman was making sure both hub cities will be in the U.S. People and their thought that Bettman hates Canada. It's so weird, and I don't understand, and it's kind of funny.
And then I point out, well, then how did the Winnipeg Jets come back? And they're like, oh, that doesn't count.
Well, except for
how doesn't it count? All we're down is Quebec since he came into the league. The only Canadian city that doesn't have a team that had one when he came in is Quebec. That's it.
I think it's funny.
So, all right. So there you go. I won that.
Oh, did you ever find out what the kangaroo team was? Yeah,
it's Australia.
Was it? But what were they called? The something Roos?
No, it's the Australian. It's the Australian national hockey team.
But I forget what they're called.
Yeah, it's the Australian national team.
Something Roos, yeah.
So, all right, there you go, guys. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for all the support and everything, as always. I may do an entertainment guy video before I'm done for today, so I'm considering it. I may do another hockey video as well, because I've never done working. But
that's true.
This is true. Thank you guys for all your support, and we will do this again
Have a great evening,
soon.
Yvonne. Oh, and you too, Shannon.
Sounds good.
I'm gonna go put together my fire pit.